Hi, this is Dr. Chris Googles here from Square One, and today I want to make this short video to go along with the blog that I've been writing that really gives you some strategies that you can implement, some very implementable, actionable things that you can do right from your home to really not only improve your own overall health, but really specifically things you can do to increase your overall immune system, which is very important always, but especially right now in current days. So I'm going to go over some supplements. I'm going to go over some of the problems if you're deficient, and I'm going to go over specifically how supplementation can actually help your overall immune system. But one of the things I always want to clarify right away is taking supplements is not something you do in replacement of eating proper nutrition. You need to be eating a really good diet with lots of good micro and macronutrients, and you can supplement in addition to those things. So one of the ones I'm going to talk about right away, right off the bat, is vitamin C. Now, most people are aware of the impact or the positive impact taking vitamin C supplements can have on your immune system. But one thing a lot of people don't realize is vitamin C actually competes with glucose or sugar for its absorption. And vitamin C and glucose have the same receptor sites on cells, which is actually what they attach to get inside of the cells. And so if you're someone that has high blood sugar levels, or you're eating a diet full of sugars, and sugars can come in like processed foods, grains, all these things raise your blood glucose levels. And if you have high blood glucose, even if you are taking vitamin C, your body's gonna have a very hard time absorbing that. So you can be shooting yourself in the foot in multiple ways, but specifically if you're eating a high sugar diet, that's gonna make it really hard for your body to absorb vitamin C. Now, I take vitamin C every day. I probably get enough of that from my immune system from the foods that I eat, but I take it because vitamin C is also a very important carrier molecule for collagen, and collagen is one of the tissues or one of the things that most of your connective tissues are made of. Now, I'm an ex-athlete and I'm very active. My body takes a beating, so I take vitamin C just to help give my body a chance to heal and repair itself better. So deficiencies with vitamin C: one, it actually impairs wound healing. Two, deficiencies increase oxidative damage, and it increases the incidence and severity of pneumonia and other infections. Now, some of the positive impacts of supplementation on immune function are high doses actually stimulate phagocytic and T-lymphocytic activity. Vitamin C is an antioxidant, and one of the antioxidant properties of vitamin C is it protects leukocytes and lymphocytes from oxidative stress, and high doses can actually help severely ill patients in intensive care units recover faster. That's one of the reasons you're seeing vitamin C IVs being done to help treat the coronavirus, because vitamin C IV gets directly in the bloodstream and actually helps these people recover faster. Vitamin D. If you're going to take one thing that can make a dramatic impact on your immune system, it's probably going to be vitamin D. A lot of people are vitamin D deficient. One of the reasons we get the flu season during the winter months is because we are not outside, we're not getting sunlight. And when we get natural sunlight, that actually helps us convert cholesterol into vitamin D, which has a huge impact on your immune system. Specifically, vitamin D has been shown to have a huge impact on respiratory tract infections. I read a few different studies specifically on vitamin D, and one was really interesting where they actually gave patients vitamin D supplements. So in this one study, some patients got vitamin D and some didn't. And they basically took the influenza and they shoved it in their face so they would inhale it. And the patients that were taking vitamin D had a much lower infection rate, meaning people that had vitamin D actually came down with the flu at a much lower rates compared to the patients that did not get or did not take vitamin D. Another paper I talked about went into all kinds of upper respiratory tract infections, and it even showed just on people like that had asthma and stuff like that, some of the dramatic impacts that taking vitamin D could have. So, vitamin D deficiencies. Let's see, it alters your gut microbial, so like basically your gut bacteria, reduces lymphocytes, impairs immune capability of macrophages, increases susceptibility of respiratory tract infection. That's one of the big ones. Increases the severity, morbidity, and mortality of respiratory tract infections. increases the risk of autoimmune disease like type 1 diabetes or MS or rheumatoid arthritis, which is really important because it's the people that have who are immune compromised are the people that are at the greatest risk of severe complications if you do get coronavirus. Impaired innate immunity, altered integrity of mucosal epithelial, because one of the parts of your immune system is just the physical barriers, your skin, things like that. And in your mucosal levels and your mucosal epithelium is one of the most critical parts to your first line of defense. So the impacts on supplementation on immune function with vitamin D. 1. Helps restore immune function of macrophages. 2. Decreases susceptibility of upper respiratory tract infections. Huge. Decrease in asthmatic symptoms. Okay. Now, selenium is my next one. This is one I have not been taking until recently, but it has some huge impacts on your immune function and specifically in how your body will respond to viruses. So if you're deficient in selenium, that actually will suppress overall immune function. It increases viral virulence, which makes it spread and be a lot more aggressive in how it gets around. And it increases your risk of respiratory tract infections. Huge. Impact of supplementation on immune function. Improves cell-mediated immunity, which is actually your body's acquired or learned immune system. Enhances immune response to viruses in people that are deficient. Zinc. Now, this is one mineral I'm going to talk about and how zinc can impact your immune system. If you're deficient in zinc, it actually impairs your antibody response to antigens. So it impacts your learned immunity. It increases the risk of bacterial, viral, and fungal infections, particularly diarrhea and pneumonia, and it increases diarrhea and respiratory morbidity rates. Now, the impact of supplementing with vitamin C on your immune function are one of the biggest ones. It has a huge beneficial effect on your intestinal immune functions. And that's going to lead me into my next one, which is probiotics. Now, a huge part of your immune system is actually ran through your intestines. And we require we require a certain amount of bacteria just for normal gut function. Right now, the average American probably gets about 1/1,000,000th of the normal bugs that you would have got 10,000 plus years ago. And so the bugs in our digestive system can be severely altered. Another thing is the bacteria you have in your body. When I say bugs, I'm talking about the bacteria, play a huge important role on the breakdown and digestion of food. And it's not just what you eat, it's what your body's actually able to break down and absorb. So taking a good quality probiotic is very important. And I think what research has been showing is it's not just taking one probiotic. If you take a probiotic, take something that has a mixture because some of the different probiotics play different roles. Another thing is if you ever have to take antibiotics, you want to make sure you follow up with probiotics. And we are exposed with antibiotics all the time just in how we sanitize things. We're just not getting enough of the good bugs that our body needs. An interesting thing I found is probiotics actually boost your overall immune system, but they also have been found to reduce your incidence of upper respiratory tract infections. So those are some of the things with supplements. Now I'm going to dive into one more I'm going to talk about is the food we eat is just not near as dense nutritionally as our food used to be. Basically, our soil is not as healthy as it used to be. If our soil is not as healthy, the food that we grow it in is not going to be as healthy. So I think it's a really important and great idea to take a multivitamin in addition to eating good, just because we know the foods that we do consume are not as nutrient dense as the foods that we used to take, that we used to eat, because our soils changed so much. Now, exercise. Exercise is critical, and one of the things about exercise is it helps you reduce your overall stress levels. And so a lot of gyms are closed right now, but one of the great things, especially like where I live in Colorado, is it's very easy and it's still encouraged to get out and exercise, go for some walks, go for runs, keep your social distancing, but make sure you get out. And the great thing, if you're outside exercising, you're going to get sun exposure. And unless you're putting on a bunch of sunscreen and things like that, about 15 minutes a day of sun on your face and on your hands, and the front and back of your hands, is enough sunlight to make sure to get the vitamin D that you need. Adequate sleep. there's probably very few things that are going to wreak havoc on your overall health and immune function than not sleeping well. If you just think about how you feel and how you function in a night you don't sleep well, that gives you an idea of what's going on with other things like your immune system you may not be thinking about. There's a great book called Lights Out. I think just reading that book alone will literally knock yourself out. But some tips on sleeping to help you sleep better. One is, I think about 2 hours before you go to sleep, you want to eliminate all blue light. So in all your devices, maybe you can have nighttime mode, or you can get like some blue light blockers on your eyes. Make sure you're eliminating blue light before you go to bed, at least 2 hours before you go to bed. And another thing is, you can make sure your room is as dark as possible, right? When the sun goes down, your body produces melatonin. It actually tells your body to go and rest and repair. Make sure your room is as dark as possible. Taking magnesium. I like one called Calm before you go to bed. Actually helps reduce stress in your body, helps your muscles relax. Those are, and then maybe like a nighttime tea. Those are some simple things you can do. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is getting adjusted, and how getting adjusted can help with your overall immune system. So there is a huge connection between your central nervous system and your immune system. And there's a lot of different research articles I'm not going to dive into, but I'm going to mention a couple. And one I was reading was basically when osteopaths were giving basically spinal manipulation or adjustments, they found that when they gave people adjustments, they had a huge, they had a spike in interleukin-2, which is important to fight off respiratory tract infections. Another one I could think of right away was where they took patients that had HIV. And basically when you get HIV, your immune system basically goes downhill really fast. And they took some patients where they gave them a fake adjustment, another group of patients where they gave them a real adjustment, and the patients that got adjusted immediately afterwards, they actually had a spike in CD4 cells, which actually decrease and plummet when someone has HIV. So one of the biggest things is when you get adjustments, when you get adjusted, it puts motion in spinal segments. And when you put movement in the spinal segments, it triggers something called proprioception. And when you stimulate proprioception, it shuts down the production of something called nociception. What you have to understand is the same part of your brain that detects movement is also responsible for controlling and regulating a lot of your stress hormones in your body. And so it's like when you get up and you exercise and you move, we know it shuts down the production of stress hormones. When you get adjusted in your body, we know when you adjust joints, or you get joints moving that were stuck or locked up or not moving, that also shuts down the production of stress hormones in your body. And as your stress response goes down and you get out of fight or flight, we know when you're in fight or flight, you shut down your immune system. So when you get adjusted and you get out of fight or flight, that can improve your overall immune system, amongst other things. And I'll put some of the links to those papers in the blog, so you can click on that. So anyways, I just want to give you a few tips, some things that you can implement today. I'm also going to put in the blog any of the supplements. There's if you click on them, you can go to our online supplement store. And right now, at least through April, probably longer, we're giving 20% off all supplement orders. And that's the max that our company will allow us to give. So we're basically giving those out at no profit, and you can get those drop shipped right to your house, so you don't have to leave your home. But like I said, I put a thing on there that anyone that orders anything from our online store gets 20% off. That's the max we're allowed to do. And that's just something that we can, so like one minor thing that we can do in our office to help our community or anyone that's watching this. So Dr. Chris Goebbels here from Square One. These are some very simple, implementable, and actionable things that you can do to not only improve your own overall health, but very specifically things you can do to improve your overall immune system and immune function.